Hello, and welcome to Transylvania and to my first cemetery review. This is a great way to kick off the spooky month in October, the month when the veil between the spirits is thinner, when the distance between the living and the dead is shrinking to nothing. So, as a real Romanian, a real Transylvanian, I decided to take you with me and show you one of my favorite graveyards close to my house where I love to hang out and relax and just collect my thoughts. And we're going to start a series that I call Cemetery Reads or the Graveyard Reads. I'm not sure yet. I'm open for suggestions, so pop one in the comments. What do you prefer? Cemetery reads or dark graveyard reads? And it will be everything from horror to paranormal romance to some dark and spooky vampire stories. And who knows, I'm sitting on somebody's grave. Maybe a fist will go to the stone and the fist will pull me in the underworld. But let me start with the first book that I'm going to review is actually a trilogy, and it's called The Vampire Hunters, and it's by my good friend Scott Baker. You can find them on Amazon. Just a second. I'm working on my Kindle because I want to read you a little bit out of it. And it has Blade versus Buffy, very old school type of vibe to it. It's really action packed, really awesome, and you have to absolutely love it. See, I'm wearing my cross, you never know. I mean, it's a Romanian cemetery. Even through the day, the dead could walk. Or some cemetery worker that decides that I'm just a hot chick and I could scratch his eyes out with my nails. I would never. I would never ever do something like that. So let me start by telling you that I loved The Vampire Hunters when I read them the first time. The title, the book delivers exactly what you expect. It's action packed, it's Blade style, Buffy. You have the kick ass vampire hunter Drake Matthews, and you have his sidekick Allison. And actually, as I said in one of my comments, you have the feeling that Allison is actually the hunter and Drake is her sidekick, because most of the time she's saving his ass, and she gets at some point a huge target on her back because she's the one who manages to almost kill a vampire master. Scott Baker has two categories of vampire. He has masters who can turn and have human faces, and the moment when they start feeding, they are like the Buffy vampires who get all wrinkly on their foreheads and do the thing with the fangs, and you think like, you maybe need a moisturizer for that on your forehead. Doesn't look really pretty. And then you have the snuffies, and the snuffies look more like zombies. They're just like creepy, and there's not much to look at. They are decomposing and stinking and super disgusting, and they're just out there to feed. There's nothing romantic about Scott Baker's vampires. They are evil, they are soulless, they are just hungry for human flesh, and they just want to kill. So I will read you just a little bit from The Vampire Hunters in a Romanian Cemetery. As Drake approached the man's bathroom, he slowed his pace and looked around. No one was paying any attention to him. Reaching under his leather jacket, he pulled out one of the three wooden stakes he kept secure in a special pouch stitched into the jacket's lining. Holding the base so that the shaft rested against his right wrist and inner arm, he stepped into the bathroom. He was not sanitizing his hands or wearing a mask or anything. He just took his stake with it. Like, the man knew his priorities. The place reeked of decomposed flesh and the acrid smell of urine. Drake swallowed hard to force down the nausea that swelled up in his throat. No one stood at the urinals. Keeping his back to the wall, Drake quietly moved across the bathroom to the section containing the stalls. Still no one. He stopped to listen, but only heard the whirring of an exhaust fan and the flow of running water from a broken toilet. and a whimper. Dropping to a knee and kneeling over, Drake examined the stalls. Like, would you really go on your knees in a public toilet? Ew! The last one on the right contained 2 sets of legs. He stood and raced to the stall, kicking open the door. A young boy, no more than 10, was sprawled backwards on the toilet, paralyzed with fear. The thing in the red windbreaker towered over the child, its head inches from the boy's neck. One hand with dagger-like fingernails pushed down on the boy's shoulder, while the other pushed his head in the opposite direction, exposing the younger's throat. At the intrusion, the thing turned to glare at Drake. It had a pallid face straight from the depth of hell. Black matted hair hung over a slightly protruding and deeply furrowed forehead. What I told you, like, those things needed like a shot of Botox in their forehead because this was not attractive. Like, why would you get all wrinkly? This is a thing that I never got with Buffy, and I mean, I love Buffy. I grew up on Buffy, and I always was like, okay, but why? Why would you be all wrinkly? This is just weird. Stop it. A pair of blood-red eyes, the yellow pupils of which seemed to glow, leered from sunken sockets. A set of upper and lower fangs had replaced the cuspids, each fang 2 inch long and razor sharp. The sunken cheeks and grey pallor indicated that the thing had not eaten in a while, and it was not happy about being disturbed in the middle of a meal. Its cracked lips drew back in a snarl as an animalistic hiss filled the star. This is a trilogy, so I highly recommend you to get all the 3 Vampire Hunters from Scott's series, and maybe you cannot read it in a real Romanian cemetery the way I do now, but you can absolutely read it in your kitchen, in the bed, in the living room, on your commute, or wherever you want to read it, because it will keep you on the edge of the chair. Even if you are from the new line of thinking that says, well, vampires are all cuddly and they're yummy, and if you love Buffy and Blade as a teen or as a kid, you will absolutely adore the Vampire Hunters. The ending is rather unexpected, and I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but I was not believing what I read. I'm friends with Scott, so I could text him and say, "You for real? Like, really? You should not do that." But he promised me there will be a sequel, and who knows? Maybe the Vampire Hunters will return. Ha ha ha. And with that, I'm ending my first video number 1, from a real Transylvanian cemetery. Greetings from your favorite vampire, Alina. Ciao ciao.